All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. Thank you all for joining us today. We are going to be doing the presentation of our latest summer release. It's release 3.16, and it has a handful of new functionality as well as some customer requested features and stability improvements. And today you're going to be hearing from myself as well as Nick Deininger. Nick has 15 years of contact center experience, and he is our senior solutions engineer at Bright Pattern. I am Shelby Ferris, and I am the marketing manager, and I'm just going to be moderating today. We will answer all questions at the end of the demonstration. You can ask any questions throughout the entire presentation, but we will be holding off until the end to get to those. All right, so on this slide, I just wanted to showcase some of the highlights from this release. There are several new supervisor tools in this release, as well as more integration partners with different CRM and workforce management partners. And I'll be drilling down a little into these guys, and then Nick will be showing you them in action inside the platform. So the first feature I wanted to highlight is our new Wallboard builder. It's one of the features we're most excited about because it is fully customizable now, and you can define styles, color, fonts, data, and placement. It's very easy to use. It's a point-and-click configuration or drag and drop interface. So it's kind of shown here. You kind of click on the cells, and then it gives you all of the options to customize. And this screen shows a little bit of that customization. A lot of different centers have preferences over colors and different views. So whether you're showcasing it on a desktop or on a TV, you might prefer different colors. As well, we have been working to expand our integration ecosystem so that our customers can take full advantage of all of their software and all of their data. So this release specifically includes integrations with ServiceNow, Pipkins, and Monet. Just to dig into those integrations a little bit, I'll show you some screenshots on the slide. This one right here shows our ServiceNow integration. This enables seamless customer conversations in an omnichannel environment. So that includes voice, messaging, email, and video, all within the ServiceNow CRM. Some benefits of this are kind of the traditional benefits you see with an omnichannel contact center. It allows ServiceNow users to address service inquiries faster, reduces agent load with the automation, and improves overall customer experience. And with the Pipkins and Monet integrations, these are kind of there to provide advanced forecasting and scheduling. There are some metrics shown on the screen right here of decreased overtime hours, increased accuracy on forecasting. These are metrics produced by Pipkins and Monet of just kind of what they've seen when a contact center implements workforce management into their center. In addition, we did have most requested feature by customers, and this is the supervisor subteams and all team views. So now supervisors can drill down on specific teams and agents. This can be helpful for keeping an eye on underperforming or new agents, and consolidates group views, which can be helpful for sharing responsibilities across supervisors. And the feature that I think is the most interesting, that I like the best, is our updated web chat, and it's because it includes proactive chat functionality. It kind of seems like a futuristic feature to me, which is why I kind of like it. And there has been a lot of talk about proactive chat lately and how it does increase sales by over 80% and also increases average offer value of 19%. So within our web chat that we updated, it is now also completely customizable like the Wallboards, and includes these trigger events that you can set up, which helps you do the proactive chat. Also included in Web Chat 2.0 is screen sharing and co-browsing options. In addition, we did update our applications on the iOS and Android platforms. And so those are just some of the features I wanted to point out before handing it over to Nick. But Nick, if you want to take controls, I'm sure everyone's kind of eager to see this in action.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. See if we can do that. I think you might have to stop sharing. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So I'm really excited about these features that we have to show you today. Again, my name is Nick Deininger. I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer at BrightPattern. And our engineers have been working very hard on these features. We've got a couple of major features that we're releasing that I'm really excited about. So let's get to it. So we've got this wallboard builder. Now, previously we had wallboards, but what we've added is the ability to create and customize these wallboards in a very straightforward manner. So what you're seeing here is what we call a global wallboard. So we've introduced the concept of global wallboards, and we have the ability on these wallboards to create multiple wallboards. And you'll see here there's a couple of different global wallboards. And you'll see also that there's all these different what we're calling widgets on here as well. So you can see this is real time. I can hover over each of these and see my agent count and the states and things like that. So we've made it a little interactive. Now what I'll do is I'll switch over to another wallboard that we've got, and we'll call it multi-center wallboard. So we've got two different themes. We've got a light and a dark theme. And we've also added some options to edit and copy and import and export as well. So if I click on this little menu item up here, you'll see that it's going to bring a menu of new, edit, duplicate, delete, import, export, and then push to global. So what you can do is you can create a wallboard for yourself, and then you can in turn push it out to be a global wallboard, essentially. So when I click on edit, it's going to allow me to edit a couple different things. So right in the same window, we can edit the title of the wallboard, and then we can edit the size of these widgets as well as the widgets that we have available with the data that we're looking at. So, you know, for example, if we wanted to resize one of these widgets, we could do that and you'll see that there's a grid behind here. So we can resize the widgets to whatever size we need, and we can drag them around and fit them to the grid. The other thing that we've added is the ability to create and customize the metrics that we have on each wallboard as well. So when I click on the little gear icon, it's going to allow me to set the options for each widget itself. We've also added the ability to do this agents ahead of me. So if you decide that you're going to pass a wallboard out to an agent or your agents in general, you can set up an agents ahead of me widget. And what that means is you'll be able to, as an agent, see which agents are ahead of you to be able to take calls. And it's configured like this. You'll have a name, a state icon, and then you'll sort by state. So basically how long they've been available, or whoever's next in line is going to be able to take those calls. So the other thing I'll mention about this wallboard feature is that there are a couple of privileges that you'll need to add. So in order to use them, these are the features that you'll need. So we've added this customized wallboards, but you'll also have to add access real-time stats API. That's a privilege that you'll have to have on the role. You'll have to have the customized wallboards feature if you want to allow for customization. And then push and pull global wallboards obviously is for users who are creating those wallboards and pushing them out to go across to global or to their organization. So that is the wallboard builder. Again, I'm really excited about that. You know, themes are really cool, and the fact that we can customize the data that we're showing on the wallboards is also a huge benefit, and it makes it really, this editor really makes it easy to do all of those things. So that's a major feature that we were releasing in 3.16. The other major feature, among a couple other ones that I'm going to show you today, is the proactive chat features. So what I'm going to do is go over to, oops, got to log back in here. Let's go ahead and log in. So what we're going to do is set up proactive chat. So we've got the scenario entries for messaging here. You'll just want to add a new chat scenario entry if you don't already have one. And then on this, it'll come to properties, but you'll click on the chat widget tab and you'll be able to add a new chat widget. When I click on this widget here, you'll see that it's a name and a URL. So you can put the URL that we're looking at that you want to deploy proactive chat on. And you'll click on Open Editor. And when you click on Open Editor, you're going to see a very familiar sort of interface here. And this is one we've built for chat widget configuration for proactive chat. So we've got a number of different options here. So if I click on that contact tab, you'll see that it's going to allow me to roll up all of the styling and different tabs here. So when I click on contact tab, we can enable this, and you'll see that down here at the bottom right-hand corner is the chat widget that I can customize. So you can choose what location you want it on. So if you want it, on the bottom right or top left, you can configure what location it's at. You can change the text color, and as you make updates, you're going to see that this is actually changing a little bit here. So we can make this, different colors, make it, a different font size as well. So maybe we go 17 pixels. You can change the font. And then you can also show different text, so it allows you to really fully customize the widget. So if you want to say chat with us now, for example, it's going to update that here. And every time you make a change, it's going to update on the little editor on the right-hand side there. Now, in addition to that, not only is the contact tab customizable, but we also are allowing for customization of the chat widget itself. So you can optionally show an agent picture. You can change the width and height. So if you wanted to change the width to 300, for example, it's going to update there. And then, the border color, of course, make it black, and then, the background color. We can change literally everything in here as well. So if we wanted to, we'll just make it something like, I guess we'll just go back to white is fine. The font size, the customer text color. We can change the text of when somebody joins. So, joins. You can change everything on here. And it's really cool because previously you would have had to download the chat application and customize HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What we've done is we've put a front-end interface on the proactive chat. So it makes it really easy to set up and configure not just the widget, but proactive chat, which I'm going to get to in just a second here. So we'll talk about proactive chat. So we've been asked about this for quite a while, and we decided to do some research on it and deploy proactive chat. So there's a couple of tabs here. I'm just going to keep it really high level. So we'll talk about the proactive offer piece. So you want to enable it. You can optionally schedule a call. So if you wanted to offer a call to somebody via proactive chat, that's totally fine. You could do that too. And then once you do that, you could create your own proactive offer conditions. So the conditions are where we configure how are we going to present this chat to somebody. So there's a list of different options here. And it can be based on different things. So it could be based on, a day of the week or day of the month or a specific person, the referring URL, number of pages visited, is it their first visit to the site. So we've got a number of different options that fall under this proactive chat category that you can set up as triggers. So for example, if this is somebody's first visit to the site, maybe you want to present them with a chat that goes to a specific scenario and service to handle a first-time newcomer to that website. So the conditions are really how we can set up proactive chat, and it's a new approach in order to connect somebody with the chat when you don't want to have to rely on them actually clicking on the contact tab and and connecting with an agent on the proactive chat side. So this is a major feature, and feel free to use it, play with it, let us know any feedback. We're always happy to take that into consideration. And by the way, on these different options here for the triggers, if there's anything that you see that's not here, let us know. I think we've done a really good job of covering everything for the triggers in proactive chat, but we would love to hear your feedback on this as well. So that is proactive chat, and as well as the styling of that chat as well. So we're going to move on to another major feature that we released, which is the ServiceNow integration. So with ServiceNow, we have a test instance here of ServiceNow, and what we've added is our phone application within ServiceNow. It's going to be available right up here. You'll be able to show it from there and then connect just like you would in a Salesforce integration or a Zendesk integration. It's very similar. And then we can also, of course, use their API. We can interact. We can use the scenario blocks that we've deployed, and I'll show you that in just a second here. So with the ServiceNow integration we've got, what I'm gonna do is initiate a couple of things. So first is the chat. So we've got this something in my way there. So we've got the chat. Again, we can customize the styling on the chat, and we can initiate the chat this way. And let's just make sure this agent's ready. Perfect. So the agent's ready. And in this case, we're just searching for an incident. We can, again, put them through a scenario and a workflow to make sure that we're popping the appropriate incident or contact. Again, it's custom object routing, just like we have in Salesforce and Zendesk. And right now, we can connect to this agent. We can look up information in ServiceNow about this person. We can do click to dial from here as well. And so it's, again, we're bringing omnichannel to ServiceNow. So it's going to be a full sort of omnichannel experience for not just the customers but for the agents as well. So they can handle messaging applications, chats, and things like that. So we'll just go ahead and end that and disposition it. And then we'll just go ahead and click back to dashboards real quick here. We've updated that case. Again, when we disposition, we can write to ServiceNow. That's not a problem either. But we can do something like a call as well. So as my supervisor, I'm just going to jump over to supervisor real quick. Supervisor can call in our instance here. Now, another thing we've added for the supervisor is the subteams. So subteams was something that we were asked about. If you have multiple teams and you want to just show a supervisor just their sub-team, we'd be able to do that as well. So we'll go ahead and initiate a call here, and we're calling into our ServiceNow queue, and we'll just make sure this agent is ready. And so they're going to be able to take this call. And again, what we're doing is we're just going to pop an incident here. So we can pop an incident that's an active incident, and now we're on this call, of course. And then we disposition the call and we move on to the next one. So again, it's a full integration with ServiceNow, and if you're using ServiceNow today, great. It's just basically going to be an application that you install within your ServiceNow instance. All right, and again, if you use the ServiceNow integration, feel free to use it. Let us know your feedback. We're happy to hear about that, and I think you'll like it if you're a ServiceNow user already. So I'm going to touch on a couple of other things regarding reporting enhancements that we've done. So I'm going to show you a couple of things on the scenario blocks that we've added here. So going back to ServiceNow real quick, now we have ServiceNow blocks built in here as well. So just like we had with the Salesforce and the Right Now blocks, we've created the ServiceNow, and it's going to be the same concepts in terms of ServiceNow search and updating objects, creating objects, and putting them through a workflow when that interaction comes in. Again, it's for voice and chat, so you'll be able to use that. We've also added custom survey questions. So previously what we had was we had 3 questions that you could use for surveys. So that was the issues resolved, contact satisfaction, net promoter score. We've added 2 additional question fields. So we can capture some additional survey questions. Of course, we'll aggregate that in reporting as well. So that's another cool feature that we've added. Feel free to use that. We also added some improvements to estimated wait time. So a couple of notes on that. We have now estimated wait time per service in the Stats API. So if you're using the Stats API, you can now get estimated wait time per service. In addition to that, we've also added this metric here in the supervisor console, where it's per service. We have an estimated wait time for each. So we're able to add that in just like we would any other metric, but it's in inbound estimated wait time for that person. So we've updated it for each interaction. Another thing we did was we changed the estimated wait time algorithm a little bit. It's based on some scientific research that we did. And our algorithm now is looking at the beginning and the end of the day. It's looking at a calculation of the agents and all agents and all calls. So what this allows for is our algorithm to be more precise and more responsive, and it also makes for a more accurate estimated wait time for customers in queue. So we've improved the estimated wait time features and functionality within the platform, which is exciting. So the other things I'm going to show you are going to be just kind of a couple of notes. They're more best described than shown, but I will just note them. And again, feel free to ask us any questions on this. But we've added multiple Salesforce accounts. So what we had was we had some customers that have multiple departments and multiple Salesforce domains, and occasionally agents would need to use more than one account. So this was one of the reasons we added it. We also added it for some BPOs that we work with that needed this feature because they're running multiple campaigns for multiple clients that use different Salesforce domains. So we've added support for multiple Salesforce accounts, which is really cool. In addition, we've added workforce management real-time feeds for Pipkins and Monet. And this is, of course, based on customers that we have that use these solutions. And so we've just added to our workforce management integrations for Pipkins and Monet, and those feeds are available through HTTPS and JSON. So if you're thinking about using those systems and switching to one of those, we have support for those in 3.16. We now have those integrations in place. Another thing we added as an improvement to Zendesk is activity history on unsolicited SMS. So what this means is, if you're dealing with somebody or talking to somebody over SMS, and let's say after hours an SMS comes in, we can now append that to an existing ticket. So if somebody sends in an unsolicited SMS, we can append it to an existing ticket. We now have a way to handle it, whereas before it wouldn't really do very much. So that's a new and interesting feature as well. We've added a couple of options to telephony. So the next couple of slides I'm going to show you here are going to be really service provider specific. So if you're providing our service to your clients, this is going to more apply to you more so than a lot of other people on the call. But we've added some additional features by request on telephony. So we've added options request support. We've added the ability to rewrite the ANI on inbound calls. We've also added a configurable from domain. In addition, we've added agent caller IDs and preview campaign. So what this means is if you're running a preview campaign and you're doing it per agent, it will now show each agent's caller ID like a callback number to that person. So if you previously it was the campaign caller ID, but now what we've added is the agent caller ID. So if somebody sees that caller ID on their phone, they want to call it back, they'll get right to that same agent that dialed them in the first place. So that is a cool feature. It was as a result of a customer request too. You can also add custom data in the SIP headers. So that's another feature. And then we have also added some features around transferring and avoiding trombones. So what this means is previously it was set up so that at the carrier level, if we needed to do like a trunk-to-trunk transfer, it would create 2 calls. And what we've done is we've rolled out some updates so that it creates 1 call and not 2. So if you're integrating with an aspect prophecy system, for example, it makes the transfer seamless and without trombones and with only 1 call. So previously what was happening is we would have an issue where the call could be potentially sent back and forth through transfers. These calls would accumulate, extra calls would be created, and it would cause a lot of latency, and it would clog up the queue. So this helps relieve those issues when you're doing SIP-to-SIP transfers. As far as some of the security enhancements, we've added a couple of things. We've added read-only access in service provider interface. So what this means is you can now provide your clients with read-only accounts so that they can log in and look at the configuration. It's basically a super user privilege but it allows you to log them to log in. They can see the configuration, but they can't make any changes. So this is now a new type of super user account in that they only have read-only access in the service provider interface. User profile modification restrictions is specific for agents, so that agents can't modify different items about their profile while they're logged in. So things like picture and different profile pieces of information. We've added the ability to disable that functionality so that they can't log in and mess around in there. We've added additional IP login restrictions, IP address login restrictions, and that's available. I'm going to show you real quick in here. It's going to be, of course, a role where you can use this privileged IP setting. So it's going to be privileged access IP range as a setting. And then we've also added the allow users with privileged access IP range privilege from the following range addresses. So you can add in now these additional restrictions on accessing from specific IPs. So it's we've had this tab here. We just added this middle section as part of that security enhancement. And then finally, we've added the user creation and last login date. So now we know when users are created. We know when they last logged in. Again, it's by customer request. And then just a couple of other miscellaneous features that didn't really fit into the previous categories, but we have support now for long SMS. So more than 160 characters, it's now supported. Mandatory service selection for outbound calls. That is going to be in the call center general settings. Require service on outbound calls. So what that means is if an agent makes an outbound call, you can now require them to choose a service when they make that outbound call, so that it's, for reporting, it's tied back to that original service that they made the call on. If you're using JAWS or one of those screen reading applications, we've added a couple of improvements on that, and it's for things like hold and on hold and mute. So we've just improved that JAWS integration a little bit. Improved case search by email address. So you were able to search in the subject and body, but now we can search by email address and case search in the email section. We've added support for a Linux soft phone. So if you're using Linux, we now have a soft phone. So obviously previously it was just Windows and Mac, but now we have support for Linux. That soft phone is provided on demand, so you'll need to ask us for it for now, but it is available if you'd like to use it. And then the calendar privilege, that's a new privilege for Active Directory. It's more of an enterprise function. And then the user management API. So this is for create, read, update, delete of users on our platform. We can now do that through an API. It's, again, tailored for enterprise. And just a couple final notes. This version 3.16 is going to be available to selected partners within the next week or two, and we're planning to upgrade our production system in the second part of September for general release. So that's kind of when it's going to be available. So you should be seeing these features rolled out quite soon. And with that, that is pretty much it for me. So what I'll do is turn it back to Shelby.
Great. Thank you, Nick. All right. So if you have any questions and haven't submitted them yet, please do so now. And we do also have Sergey, Bright Patterns product manager, on as well to answer some of these questions that are coming in. The first one we have here, Nick, you said when this is going to be released to some partners. Do you know specifically when Aspect Zipwire is going to get it?
I do not. You'll have to ask Aspect about that particular one, that question. I don't know the date.
Well, Aspect right now, this is Sergey. Aspect right now has the preliminary build in their testing. Testing team is already testing it.
All right.
Okay, great.
There you go.
We also got a question in asking if there are any email enhancements included in this release. He listed some examples. Maybe these were suggestions that he had submitted in. Nick, are you seeing that question? Can you respond to any of that?
Yeah, for some reason I can't actually see the question, so would you mind just reading it?
Sure, it's kind of long, but yeah, will there be some email enhancements, for example, better searching through cases, be able to print the email, send the email to colleague without extra toaster, be able to delete emails that you do not want to end up at agent?
Yeah, we've added the case feature I mentioned earlier, so improved case search has been released. As far as printing and deleting emails, I'll have to follow up on that unless, Sergey, you know the answer to that question.
Yeah, we did improve search. There were some issues with specifically email addresses when they were being searched. They were split in different words, and all those words were searched as OR. Right now we just do a substring search, so it's much better, and hopefully will address the issue.
Great, thanks, Sergey. Next, any thought about wallboards in BPO? Specifically, can wallboards be created that are firewalled from being viewed by other logins?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the wallboard is specific to a user login, and it'll require certain privileges. Sergey, maybe you understood the question a little bit differently.
Yeah. The thing is, wallboard is always viewed from the point of view of the user who's logged in the wallboard. So if the user, first of all, they have to have a privilege to access the wallboard data. And second, they should be assigned to the specific services to be able to see them. Specifically, they should be assigned as supervisors to the teams that they want to see or the services that those teams process. So if you're in the BPO setting and you would like to give access to your clients, one way would be to assign them to those teams and only enable the wallboard login for them. So that way they'll be able to see only the services assigned to those teams. Hopefully that addresses the question.
Great, and we've had a couple people ask if we're going to send out the slide deck and recording. Yes, we will. We'll be sending that out to everyone that registered, so you can share with any colleagues that you want. And I think that that's all the questions I see in here. So with that, we just want to thank everyone for joining. We also want to thank all of our customers and partners that have given us reviews online. Those reviews have helped us place in the Leaders Quadrant of Gartner and Software Advice Frontrunners Quadrant, and also help us get a couple of other awards this year. So it's really appreciated. And if you haven't yet left a review, please do so. Capterra is kind of the main site that we would like people to leave reviews on. But other than that, I think we're done for today. Sergey, Nick, thank you for presenting, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.